Molly and George.
Well, we're going to stand because we're more comfortable, because that way we know if we need to, we can get out quick. So, I'm going to start by telling you a little bit about how we got into what we're doing right now, and then Molly's going to tell you a little bit about how we got into it, and then I'm going to tell you about what we're doing right now, and we're going to do that real quick. So you're getting the Cliff Notes version, and we'll talk to anybody that's interested in water after this. It dates back to the mid-'70s, and I was working with Exxon Research and Engineering, and just felt like we're both from the South, and we felt like we wanted to move back south. And it was about a 4-year process, and by the way, we think that we feel like God's blessed us with 2 half-time experiences. The first was this experience when we left Exxon and started an environmental consulting company in Charleston, South Carolina. God blessed that. We said, Lord, if that's what you want us to do, we'll do that. It's your business, and we'll run it. And when we get in the way, we try to step out of the way and let you correct it. And I can show you places where we've gone up and down, and that was where we got into it and where we let the Lord do it. In any event, it was a very successful business and allowed us to make a change, which was catalyzed by a hurricane that hit Central America in 1998.
Oh, it's my turn. When that happened, we were in the environmental consulting business, George said. We started working together in 1981, and we have 3 grandchildren that are wonderful that we'll tell you all about later. But Hurricane Mitch hit. Our church had been doing a lot of medical mission work. Our daughter had lived in Honduras teaching English in a bilingual Christian school. And we had visited, and we'd met the Bishop of Honduras, and George sent him an email and said, what can we do to help? We know a little bit about water. And the very next day, during the middle of this Hurricane Mitch, we get an email back that says, we need 6 drinking water systems. Well, we'd never built anything. We tested water, and we did consulting to help people know what to do with environmental regulations. So we started looking around for something to see what could we buy and send to Honduras to help them with drinking water, and couldn't find anything. So George is a PhD chemical engineer. I have a degree in Spanish, and he says, drinking water is not rocket science. Why don't we design something? And I looked and said, it is rocket science to a Spanish major. So yes. Within about a few hours, he'd sketched out on a yellow pad a drinking water system. In 2 days, we had a prototype built. We had our local water utility say it works, it's great. He describes it as the grown-up science fair project. Within 2 weeks, we're in Honduras with 60 tons of supplies, 6 drinking water systems, and we're going to 3 villages around the Tegucigalpa area and 3 villages around the north, San Pedro Sula. And within 2 weeks of a hurricane, we're taking nasty, nasty river water and turning it into clean water. And we are with churches, and pastors are praying, and it was life-changing. Our eyes were opened. Your turn.
We didn't rehearse this, obviously. So we came back. We thought that was a one-time experience, but we came back and we thought, honestly, we'd identified a business opportunity. And so for the next couple of years, we built some water systems in some developing countries through the environmental company. But it's a terrible business model. The need's huge, which I'll tell you about in a minute. But the problem with it is the people that need it don't have any money to pay for it. So the money comes from donors, and that doesn't work in a for-profit environment. So it was the last Saturday in September in 2000. Molly and I weren't getting along with each other very well, and it was because we weren't listening to each other or the Lord. But we set the day aside with 3 books, one of which obviously was Halftime, and another was the Bible, and the third was a book called Deep Change. And we committed to pray our way and read our way through that day to seek God's guidance. By the time we got to the end of the day, it was clear that the Lord said, it's time to get out of the environmental consulting business and go focus on water. What we'd learned from 1998 to 2002 are a few statistics that I want to share with you. 20% of the world's population, 1.1 billion people, that's 1 in 5 people, lack access to safe water. Twice that number lack access to adequate sanitation. As a result of that, 25,000 people, over 1,000 people every hour of every day die from a waterborne disease that is easily preventable. We know how to treat the water. It's not as if we're solving an incurable disease. Half of the world's hospital beds are occupied by people with a waterborne disease. Every 15 seconds, a child under the age of 5 years, dies. Every 15 seconds. Well, when we learned these statistics, the environmental business in the United States didn't have a lot of pizzazz to it, and we felt drawn to focus our lives on this. Am I running out of time?
Yes.
2001, we sold the environmental business, started a Christian ministry called Water Missions International. It has a twofold mission: provide access to safe water and an opportunity to hear the gospel, hear the good news of salvation through Jesus Christ to those people in developing countries. Today we have water systems in 32 countries. We have country programs with staff on the ground in 6 countries: Africa, Uganda, and Kenya, Honduras that serves Central and South America, Haiti, Indonesia, and Sri Lanka. Today we're providing water and hope, eternal hope, to over 1 million people every day. It's a wonderful experience. Their staff is very small. Every one of these, about 500 water systems around the world today, every one of them have been put together and installed by volunteers from churches and youth groups in various parts of the United States. So it's a great experience. I encourage you, if you have any interest in learning more about water in developing countries, we'd love to talk with you. And I'm making sure we don't run over time. So
Thank you all.